As the fighting rages, gods and goddesses assist both sides. Athena is helping out the side of the Achaeans, and Ares, the god of war, is helping out the Trojans. Athena granted Tydeus' son Diomedes strength and daring, so the fighter would shine forth and tower over the Argives and win himself great glory. She set the man ablaze, his shield and helmet flaming with tireless fire, like the star that flames at harvest, bathed in the ocean, rising up to outshine all other stars. Such fire Athena blazed from Tydeus' head and shoulders, drove him into the center where the masses struggled on. Athena then lures Ares away from the fighting, and Diomedes starts going off. Diomedes, which side was the fighter on? You could not tell. Did he rampage now with the Trojans or the Argives? Down the plain he stormed like a stream and spat, a routing winter torrent sweeping away the dikes. The tight piled dikes can't hold it back any longer. Banks shoring the blooming vineyards cannot curb its course. A flash flood bursts as the rains from Zeus pour down their power. Acre on acre the well-dug work of farmers crumbling under it. So under Tydeus' force, the Trojan columns panicked now, no standing their ground, massed, packed as they were. Then Pandarus hits Diomedes with an arrow in the right shoulder and exhorts the Trojans to attack. But for Diomedes it is merely a scratch, as he has Sthenelus pull the arrow out. Then he prays to Athena, and Athena gives him the strength of his father Tydeus, but warns him not to fight any of the gods except Aphrodite. Diomedes goes on rampaging. He killed Astinus, then Hipparon, a frontline captain. One he stabbed with a bronze lance above the nipple, the other his heavy sword hacked at the collarbone right on the shoulder, cleaving the whole shoulder clear of neck and back. And he left them there, dead, and he made a rush at Abas and Paliades, son of Eurydamas, an aged reader of dreams, but the old prophet read no dreams for them when they set out for Troy. Diomedes laid them low, then swung to attack the two sons of Phaenops, hardy Xanthus and Thuon, both men grown tall as their father shrunk away with age. He'd never breed more sons to leave his riches to. The son of Tydeus killed the two of them on the spot. He ripped the dear life out of both and left their father tears and wrenching grief. Now he'd never welcome his two sons home from war, alive in the flesh, and distant kin would carve apart their birthright. Next, Diomedes killed two sons of Dardan Priam, careening on in a single car, Ecamon and Chromius, as a lion charges cattle, calves, and heifers, browsing the deep glades, and snaps their necks. So Tydeus pitched them both from the chariot, gave them a mauling, gave them little choice, quickly stripped their gear, and passed their team to his men to lash back to the ships, smashing the lines of fighters now. Aeneas, a minor hero in the Iliad, finds Pandarus and tells him that his bow and arrows are needed. Pandarus says that Diomedes is fighting like a god, as if some god is helping him. Pandarus laments the fact that he has no chariot and horses. His father told him to take one of his, but Pandarus refused and came on foot. He claims that he already hit two of the Achaeans' best men, Menelaus and Diomedes, but has only enraged them. Aeneas and Pandarus decide to team up, as Aeneas has his own chariot. As Aeneas and Pandarus charge towards Diomedes, Pandarus shouts at him, "What mad bravado, lofty Tydeus' son will brave it out? So, my arrow failed to bring you down, my tearing shot. Now for a spear, we'll see if this can kill you." And Pandarus whips his spear at Diomedes, hitting his shield, and he shouts on, "You're hit clean through the side, you won't last long, I'd say. Now the glory's mine. But never shaken, staunch Diomedes shot back. "No hit, you missed, but the two of you will never quit this fight, I'd say, till one of you drops and dies and gluts with blood, Ares who hacks at men behind his rawhide shield." With that he hurled, and Athena drove the shaft, and it split the archer's nose between the eyes. It cracked his glistening teeth, the tough bronze cut off his tongue at the roots, smashed his jaw, and the point came ripping out beneath his chin. He pinched from his car, armor clanged against him, a glimmering blaze of metal dazzling round his back. The purebreds reared aside, hooves pawing the air, and his life and power slipped away on the wind. Aeneas tries to defend the body of Pandarus, but Diomedes heaves a fucking boulder and smashes Aeneas' thigh. Aeneas would be dead, but Aphrodite, his mother, protects him from the bronze spears and begins to take him away from the fighting. Diomedes finds Aphrodite doing this and spears her through the wrist, and she drops Aeneas. But Apollo picks him up. Diomedes shouts at Aphrodite, "Daughter of Zeus, give up the war, your lust for carnage. So, it's not enough that you lure defenseless women to their ruin, hunting the fighting, are you? Now I think you'll cringe at the hint of war if you get wind of battle far away." Iris leads Aphrodite from the fighting, and they find Ares sitting away from the battle. He gives her his chariot and horse so that she can return to Olympus. There, at Olympus, Aphrodite complains about being wounded by the mortal Diomedes. Zeus and Athena mock her. On the plain of battle, Diomedes continues trying to kill Aeneas, but Apollo stops him 3 times. Upon the 4th attempt, Apollo says to Diomedes, "Think, Diomedes, shrink back now. Enough of this madness, striving with the gods. We are not of the same breed. We never will be. The deathless gods and men who walk the earth." Diomedes backs off, and Apollo carries Aeneas off to the heights of Pergamos, where he heals him. Apollo creates a shade of Aeneas, which the Trojans and Achaeans continue to fight over. Ares rejoins the battle and spurs on the Trojan forces. The fighting continues with men and gods on both sides urging on Trojans and Achaeans alike. At one point, Athena goes to Diomedes and spurs him on. But Diomedes replies and says that she told him not to fight with the immortal gods. Ares, he knows, is leading the charge of the Trojans. Athena tells him to forget what she said, and she jumps into his chariot. Athena drives the chariot straight at Ares, and with her help, Diomedes is able to hit Ares with a spear deep in his bowels. Ares, the god of war, shrieks and flees back to Olympus, where he too complains to Zeus about Athena. Zeus explodes at Ares. "No more, you lying two-faced. No more sidling up to me, whining here before me. You, I hate you most of all the Olympian gods, always dear to your heart. Strife, yes, battles, the bloody grind of war. You have your mother's uncontrollable rage. Incorrigible, that Hera, say what I will, I can hardly keep her down. Hera's urgings I trust have made you suffer this, but I cannot bear to see you agonize so long. You are my child. To me, your mother bore you. If you had sprung from another god, believe me, and grown into such blinding devastation, long ago you'd have dropped below the Titans, deep in the dark pit." Now, before the end of this book summary, I would like to talk a little bit about Homeric fighting and the way that Homer describes the fighting. Of course, I gave you a little taste of that. But from here on out in the Iliad, a lot of the book is going to be the combat. And the way Homer describes the combat is really intense, really bloody and gruesome. and I really don't want to be summarizing it a lot. X killed Y and Y killed X. I will talk about it a little more coming up. If certain passages I feel like are important to read out loud, I will read them out loud. But I will probably be skipping over a lot of the fighting in the future. So that's just a heads up. I would like to talk a little more in depth about the fighting at a later time. But just for now, that's what's up.